Now, everything that exists has a purpose, and marriage, of course, is no exception to this. However, when we actually stop and consider what is the purpose to marriage, we can find the answer elusive. And that, of course, is what brings us to this video, how to identify marital purpose. And we're going to look at three major perspectives. The first is the historical perspective that procreation is the purpose to marriage. Second is a more modern perspective that pleasure is the purpose to marriage. And then finally, we'll conclude with looking at partnership, that some form of partnership is the purpose to marriage. So let's begin with procreation. Now, in times past, it was of paramount importance that the king and the queen bring forth an heir. It was deemed critical. Likewise, the peasants needed to procreate, bring forth children to work the fields and all the jobs that go with running the kingdom. But the first problem with this perspective is that children can be brought forth without marriage. In fact, it's done all the time. So it seems a little odd that the central purpose of marriage is not exclusive to marriage. So that's the first hole. The next glaring inconsistency is that roughly 1 in 6 couples are actually incapable, biologically speaking, of procreation. So if we state that procreation is the purpose to marriage, we're inferring that these struggling couples have a purposeless union. And that seems like a very heartless additional burden to weigh them down with. Furthermore, even for couples who can procreate and raise their children, eventually a day will come when those children leave. And since the whole purpose of the union is wrapped up in the children, when the children walk away, they take the very central purpose of the marriage with them, leaving the husband and wife without purpose. So we can see that although procreation may be a vital component of marriage, it is really not sound to consider it the central purpose of marriage. So that then brings us to perspective number 2. In our modern culture, it is really focused upon that pleasure is the central purpose to marriage. Whatever makes us happy, and if our partner makes us happy, that is, by many, deemed to be the foundation upon which we will build a marriage. And this can go from the heights of ecstasy to the simple pleasure of just having someone be there with you. And there can be significant pleasure amidst a marital union. However, as every couple eventually realizes, sustaining unending infinite bliss is not realistic. And when the pleasure goes, it takes our purpose with it. Now, furthermore, when we consider that pleasure is the purpose of our marriage, we start treating our partner like one of these. If we just give them the right currency and push the right buttons, we can get a sweet treat. And this will work for a while, until our partner starts to feel like they're having their buttons pushed to give us something nice to eat. And then they will start refusing to function, in our view, properly. They are not participating in the marriage anymore. They're not giving us the pleasure that we feel is the very basis of our union. And we will take matters into our own hands and take the pleasure that we feel we're due. So similar to procreation, pleasure may be a vital component to marriage, but if we make it the central purpose, we're setting ourselves up for some very unfortunate circumstances. So, since the first two perspectives are not quite suitable, we then come to the final perspective, that some type of partnership is actually the purpose. And of course, we all view that, yes, marriage is a partnership, but a partnership to do what? A partnership of pleasure, a partnership of procreation, Well, we've already looked at those perspectives, and those are insufficient. The purpose needs to be bigger, so big that it can include procreation, it can include pleasure, it can include pain. In fact, it needs to be so big that it can include anything that is possible for a marriage to bring forth, such as pets, outings with the children, property, fun things to do, creative endeavors, or just simply relaxing. The purpose needs to be this big that can include everything here and everything we can possibly conceive as possible. And what would be that big? What could be a purpose that is that large? Well, if we just want to make it very simple, the purpose would be the birth of a unique world. The purpose of coming together with a spouse is for the two of us to bring forth a world that is all our own. A world that is similar to the world we inhabit presently, but a world that is shaped in our own likeness. A world that is unique. Now, this is not a guarantee, because when both of us come to the marriage, we're already working on our own world. We have our skills and our talents, and we have our friends and our family. We're building networks, we're building our identity, we're building all these elements of a unique world. Now, when we start interacting with a potential partner, we start sensing that maybe we could get together on our life purpose and building this world. So we start fusing our two worlds together, linking them, thinking and feeling and acting how they might work together, and eventually we conclude that we want to build one world. Two souls working together, partnering together for the purpose of manifesting one unique world. One world that fulfills both of our life ambitions in that single world. And neither partner should need to sacrifice at all, because the world can be as big as we want it to be. Enough space for both of us to have complete and utter fulfillment for our ambitious intentions. So, the purpose of marriage is for two souls to create one unique world.